Hello everyone. We'll be moving on to the second part. Uh, the part A. You have you have 6 questions. You have to answer only 5. We'll be doing all the questions here. We'll be discussing all. Okay, we'll go in order. Therefore, the first one, it's about a graph. Okay. Now in the graph, the equation is given. The equation is y equals 4 minus x you multiply by x minus 2. Now here the first part always they give you a table. Now here they have given you few tables. The x and y values are given, and there is a blank. You have to fill that y value. So the x value is given, that is 1, so you have to fill y. They have given you the value of x. When x is equal to 1, you have to find the value of y. Therefore, let us substitute 4 minus 1, and then here you have 1 minus 2 is minus 1. Therefore, minus into minus 1 is plus 1. So, y is equal to 5. Okay, now you know all the coordinates. If you look at the chart in the paper, you know all the values of x and y's are given. You know all these values. Now, we have to plot the graph. Now, I will not show you how to plot. I have already plotted this graph. I'll show you the graph first. Okay, this is the graph you get. If you plot a graph, this is the graph you get. Okay, now you know how to perform this. You have to take, they have given saying that's 10 small divisions as 1 unit. So I have taken 10 small divisions as 1 unit. This is the x-axis, and here you have the y-axis. After drawing the graph, you get a maximum graph. Now what you have to do is you have to check this graph. Using this graph, you have to answer each of the questions. Okay, the first one is given as you have to find the value of y. Second one, you have to draw the graph. Okay, let us move on to the third one. Third one, it says you have to find the range value of x for which y is decreasing, and they have given you an inequality. Now this is the graph of y. Now if you consider the graph from this point to this point, the graph is always increasing, and from this point to this point the graph is decreasing. Now you have to consider only the decreasing part. Now out of this decreasing part, you have to consider where y, the graph, is less than or equal to y and greater than minus 4. Now you have to consider, y values are given here. You have to consider where is 1. Okay, this part. So they are speaking about this point and minus 4. This point. These are the two places the inequality they are speaking. Now if the graph, now you have to find, how have they given? Range of values where the graph is decreasing, and it should be between this interval. Now let us find the value of x. If you take this value, the x is equal to 4, and also if you take this point, the value of x is equal to 3. Therefore this is the way of writing. You have to say, okay, now here they have said it can be even equal to 1. Therefore you have to use the equal mark here. And when you are considering the other side, you can just use the smaller sign. Therefore, it should be smaller than how much? It should be smaller than 4, should be greater than 4, and should be less than or equal to 3. This is the answer. And then let us go to the next part, the fourth part. Here it speaks about, suppose that the given equation is written in the form. Okay, they have changed the form. That is minus x minus p to the power squared plus q. Okay, now you have to indicate the points p and q, p comma q, the coordinate on the graph as m. Now always remember, if the equation of the graph is given in this form, if it is given in this form, always the maximum or the minimum coordinates can be found by taking the x value, this x value, and this y value. Therefore, how should you get the answer? This is the way of getting the answer. Observe the values, you know. Okay, this is the maximum in our graph now. What is the coordinate of this? Okay, you have x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 5. So you have to fill these values in this graph. So it is equal to minus x minus 1 whole thing squared plus how much is y? That is equal to plus 5. That's all. Okay, got it? Now even if they give you an equation in this form and ask you to find the maximum or the minimum point, you should be able to write the answers. You should take the minus value of this. That is, if they had given you minus 1, if they ask you to write the maximum point, you have to write as minus minus 1. Therefore it will have plus 1, and then instead of y you have 5. This is the maximum or the minimum point. Now also they have asked you to mark it. So here I'll mark it as M. Okay, and the last part, using the graph find the positive values of x such that, okay, they have given you an equation equals 4. Now this equation, if you rearrange, that means if I move all the terms to the other hand side, you have minus x squared minus plus 2x plus 4. Now if you factorize this, okay, if you factorize, or okay, you need not factorize. If you take the real equation of this question, here is a real equation, okay. If you expand this, let me expand this first, minus x squared plus 2x. Can you observe that these two equations are of the same type? That means here what they have given you is the real equation, the equation of the graph. Now you have to consider the graph to answer this. They are asking you to find the values of x such that x squared this equation and then to the first decimal place. Now what you have to do here is consider the graph. In order to find the value of x, you have to take the square root, the root points. That means where the y is equal to 0. That means this line. You have to consider the values of x, this point and this point. Therefore you have two values. One is that it can be, x can be equal to minus 1.2 or x can be equal to plus 3.2. Okay, so let us move on to the second question. Okay, second part. Here they have given you an information, they have given you a chart. The information obtained from a survey conducted to find out how much it takes time for a doctor to examine patients who arrives at the outpatient is given. Okay, 100 altogether there are 100 patients. The time spent on each patient is also given. Okay, they have given you the chart. Now the first question, it says, using a suitable assumed mean or otherwise find the mean time taken by the doctor for a patient, to examine a patient. Now to do this, I will do it in the assume mean method. You have to create a chart. Okay, the first table, you write the class interval. What are the interval values given? Now you already know. That is given here, 2 to 4, and then 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, and then 12 to 14. These are the values given. And the next column, let us take the mid value of these two. Okay, mid value, how do we consider the mid value? You have to add both and divide by 3. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. And then here you have 5, 7, 9, 11, and then 13 here. Okay. Now the next column, let us find the deviation. That is, I am going to take 7 as my assumed mean. Now to consider the deviation, what you have to do is, you have to subtract each of these values. You have to now say take 9, you have to subtract the assumed mean from this 9. Now here you have to subtract 7 from 5 and then write the answer here. 7 from 3 and write the answer here. That is the deviation. What is the deviation from the assumed mean? Now say I take 5 here. 5 minus 7 is equal to minus 2. Here 3 minus 7 is equal to minus 4. Here 9 minus 7 is equal, 7 here. 7 minus 7 will give you 0. And here 9 minus 7 will give you 2, 4 and 6. Now come to the frequency. Here you fill each of the table with the frequencies. Frequencies are given 19, 32, 37, 6, 4 and 2. Altogether the frequency total will be equal to 100. That is the data. Okay. Now in order to find the mean, first let us find FD. You have to multiply both F and D. Now I'll write all the answers for this. 19 multiplied by this is equal to minus 76, and here you have minus 64. Here you get 0. Here 12, 16 and 12. Now if you take the total of this, you have minus 140. This is 0 and total of this will give you 40. Okay, now you have to find the total of FD. What is the total? You have 40 minus 140. 40 minus 140. That is equal to minus 100. Okay, now you have to find the mean. In order to find the mean, the actual mean is the assumed mean. Assumed mean plus you have to divide FD by F. Therefore, our assumed mean is equal to 7. 7 plus, here FD is minus 100. Minus 100 divided by 100. That is equal to minus 1. Therefore, 7 minus 1 is equal to 6. This is our mean. These are given in minutes. Therefore, our assumed mean will be 6 minutes. Okay. And then moving on to the next part. The second part. What does it say? Find the percentage of patients who were examined for more than the mean time. Now the mean time, it says how much? It gives you 6 minutes. Now you have to consider all the patients who spend more than 6 minutes. Now if you just look at the chart, using the chart, they have given you all the time taken. Time taken is given. Time taken. Here minutes, frequencies are given. Patients, number of patients. Now you have starting from 2 to 4, all that you have. Now 46. Now you have to take the total of all the patients who took more than 6 minutes. You have to find this total. Excluding this, you can't take this part because these patients, they took less than 6 minutes. Therefore, you have to find the total of this and find the percentage. So if you take the total, you have to add 37 plus 6 plus 4 plus 2. You get 49. Therefore, in order to find the percentage, 49 over total, that is equal to 100 into 100 percentage. Therefore, answer will be 49 percentage. Okay. The third part, before that they have said each doctor in this department examines patients for 6 hours per day. Okay, one doctor will examine only 6 hours. 6 hours, okay? Now the third one, it requires us to find the number of patients that can be expected to be examined by a doctor during a day. Now you have to find out can be examined by a doctor during a day. One doctor can examine how many patients. Now one doctor, if it is given in hours, let us convert to minutes. 6 multiplied by 60. That is equal to 360 minutes. A doctor spends altogether 360 minutes per day. Now one patient will take how many minutes? He takes the mean minute, that is equal to 6 minutes. Therefore you have to divide 360 minutes by 60 minutes. the answer you get is how much? 6. Is it 6? Yeah, 6. He can examine altogether 6 patients. So no, did I make a mistake? 6 multiplied by hours into one doctor. He spends 6 hours. It is 6 hours. Yes, 6 hours per day. So you multiply 360, get sorry, it should be divided by 6 minutes. It's not 60, it's 6. Okay, therefore you will get 60 patients altogether. One doctor examines 60 patients per day. Okay, and the last one, Roman number 4. Estimate the minimum number of doctors required to examine 40 patients who arrived at the outpatient department on a certain day. Now altogether there are 400 patients. Now altogether there are 400 patients. Okay, now one doctor can examine 60 patients. Okay, now how do you solve? You have to find altogether there are 400 patients. One doctor can examine only 60 patients. Therefore, you divide by 60. So the answer you get is 6 point. It is roughly around 6.7. Therefore, now since you have 6.7, you cannot take 6 doctors. It is wrong. Why? There should be at least 7 doctors. Therefore, the answer will be 7 doctors. Okay. Now let us come to the third question. Here it's a small question, but you have to answer in the order. A computer which is sold for a cash price of 80,000. The price of the computer is 80,000. This 80,000, the computer can be purchased by making a down payment of 20,000. Down payment of 20,000. That's right. Okay. Now if you have already paid 20,000, you can take the what are they buying? A computer. They are taking the computer home, and the rest will be paid in 12 equal monthly installments. Okay. Now what is the balance to be paid? Let's find that first. Balance is 80,000 minus 20,000 is equal to 60,000. This is the balance to be paid. Okay. Now they are also saying the interest is calculated on the reducing balance at an annual interest rate of 24%. This is the interest rate. This is annually. Per year they charge 24%. Now you have to calculate the value of a monthly installment. That means per month how much should you pay with the interest. Now how do you calculate? Now these types of questions where the interest is calculated on the reducing balance, there is an order. Now since you know the balance to be paid, next let us find how many installments are there without the interest. That is easy. Installments without interest. Okay, that is altogether you have a balance of 60,000 to be paid. So 60,000 you have to divide by how much? Within how many months is he paying? 12 months. 12 months. Therefore, the answer you get is 5,000. So per month without the interest he should pay 5,000. Okay, got it? Okay. The next part. Now let us find the interest for 1 month. What is the interest per 1 month? Interest per month. For 1 month, how much is the interest? Now the interest rate is given. That is 24%. Therefore 24 is for 100 means what is the amount that should be paid per month? That is equal to 5,000. So let me write 5,000 multiplied by, now this interest rate, this is per year. Therefore, you have to find here per month. Then you have to, how many months are there for a year? 12. Therefore, you have to divide that answer by 12. Now, when you solve this, you will be getting, what is the answer you get? It should be 100, right? Yeah. Okay. Therefore, for 1 month, you get an interest of 100 rupees. Now what you have to do is, you cannot just multiply this interest by 12. This is calculated on the reducing balance. Therefore, what now you have to do is, in these types of questions, you have to find the total number of month units. How do you find the number of month units? Okay. Let me find the month units. Month units. There is an equation for that. What is the equation? N divided by 2, n plus 1. That's all. Now, n is the total number of months. Sorry, here you have n is the time period. Altogether, how much you get? It should be 12. Okay. 12 divided by 2, n plus 1 is equal to 13. Therefore, 6 multiplied by 13, you get 38 units. Okay, you have to substitute this by the number of here you have months. Now altogether n is equal to 12. They are going to pay it in 12 months. Therefore, you substitute with 12 and then get the answer. Therefore, altogether you have 78 units. Now what you have to do is to find the total interest. Total interest, you know the interest per 1 month. Altogether, like that, there are how many units? Month units? 78. In order to find the total interest, you have to multiply the interest for 1 year by the number of month units. Therefore, total interest is equal to for 1 month, what is the interest charged? I think it's 100. Okay, 100 you have to multiply by 78. That is equal to 7,800. This is the total interest to be paid, and this is the total interest for all 12 months. Also, you know the amount that should be paid for 1 month without the interest. Therefore, finally, in order to find the total interest, for an installment, how do you call it? The monthly installment. Monthly installment, you can do it this way. Now you know how much you should pay without the interest. That is 5,000 you have already found out. Plus, you know the total interest. How do you find the interest per 1 month? You should divide the total interest by the number of months. Therefore, 7,800 divided by 12. Therefore, the answer you will be getting is 5,650. Or else this question can be done in this way. Altogether, you should already, after paying this 20,000, a balance of 60,000 is left. Therefore, you can add 60,000 plus interest is equal to 7,800. This you can divide by 12. The same thing. When you divide 60,000 by 12, you will be getting 5,000. So I divided only this part. Okay. Now let us move on to the next question, fourth one. Okay, it's about trigonometry. First of all, let me draw the diagram. It says, okay, let me draw the diagram first. This is a right angle triangle. They have given you this as 90. Also, there is a part down. This is also 90. And these are marked A, B, C, and D. The north direction is also marked, that is towards up. Okay, the figure shows 4 locations, ABC on a city plan drawn to scale. Here BAC and ADC both are 90 that we have marked. And AC is equal to 10 centimeters. Where is AC? Okay, this is equal to 10 centimeters. And also AD This side the AD is equal to 9.4 centimeters. Okay, and then let us come to the first part. The first part, by considering the triangle ACD, the smaller triangle, both are right angle triangles, considering the triangle ACD and using trigonometric tables. Now you should know how to find sine values of certain angles, sine, cos and tan. And you should know all those things, how to use a logarithmic book and all that. And then find the magnitude of ACD and show that it is 70 degree to the nearest degree. How do you find this? Okay. Now since we have to use trigonometry, we will consider right angle triangles. Now considering this triangle ACD, now you have to find the angle ACD, that is this part. Okay. Now let us say, now if you take this triangle, you know the one in opposite twist, that you know the length of AD, that is in opposite, and also you know, if you take this triangle, you know the hypotenuse side. Therefore let us take, you know, opposite and hypotenuse. Therefore let us take sine theta, this as theta. Therefore opposite is equal to AD over AC, that is equal to 9.4 centimeters over 10 centimeters. Therefore sine theta is equal to 0.94. I'll put two zeros in order to find using the logbook. Therefore theta is equal to sine inverse of 0.940. Now if you take the logbook and then find out, the value of ACD, that is theta, will be equal to 70 degrees and 3 minutes. Therefore they have asked you to round off and get the answer as 70. Therefore this is equal to 70 degrees. Okay. Now also moving to the other part, the bearing of D from C is 242. That is, from C you have to check. Therefore we'll draw a line this way, showing the north direction. The bearing is always taken from the north direction towards the clockwise direction. Clockwise. Okay. From this angle, from this point, from the north to this D, you have a bearing of how much is that? 242 degrees. Okay. Also you know now this angle is equal to 70. Okay. Now you can find this inside angle also. Okay. Let us check the question. Find the magnitude. Okay, they have asked you to use this as 70. Okay, now further calculations. Okay, the second part. Find the magnitudes of BCD. BCD. You have to find this C angle. How do you find BCD? How should you find now? Now you can do it this way. Now BCD, now from this value, from this north direction up to this line, you have how much is that? That is like this way. From this total angle is equal to 270. Therefore from 270 degrees let us subtract. How much should you subtract? You have to subtract 242, this part. Okay, BCD. Okay, okay, I'll find BCD first. Okay, BCD, that is BCD, this part. Altogether you have 270. From 270 you have to subtract 240 degrees. That will give you 28 degrees. Okay, that is, this part is equal to 28 degrees. They are asking you to find two angles, BCD and ACB. Next, ACB. How do you find ACB? Where is ACB? That is this part. ACB, this part. That is simple. You can do it this way. Since you have already found out that this total angle is equal to 70, and also you know this small angle is equal to 28, then from 70 let us subtract this 28. From 70 degrees, let us subtract 28 degrees. That will give you, how much is it? 42 degrees. Okay. Okay, the last part, third part. It's about by considering the triangle ABC. Now you have to consider the larger triangle. By considering in the larger triangle, you know this angle is equal to, how much is that? Just now we found out ACB, that is equal to 42. In case we need that, we'll use it. Okay. By considering the triangle, find the length of AB. You have to find this length. Let us say X. You have to find this. Okay. Observe it this way. Okay. Now if you take this triangle, you know only this small angle. You don't know this angle. You know this is 90. Therefore, now you have to take a relationship such that you have AB, the unknown length. That is where we are going to find out. And also, you have the known length AC, that is equal to 10 centimeters. Now, if you take this angle, AB is opposite to this, and then 10 centimeter is the adjacent. Therefore, let us take tan 42 degrees. That is equal to opposite over adjacent. Opposite is equal to AB. Adjacent is equal to 10 centimeters. Therefore, AB is equal to tan 42 degrees multiplied by 10 centimeters. Therefore, finally, AB will be equal to, you have to find the tan value of 42. That I'll get you the answer. That is equal to 0.9004 multiplied by 10 centimeters. So the answer will be 0.9004, sorry, it's 9.004 centimeters. Okay? Okay. Let us go to the fifth question. Okay, it's about equations, simultaneous equations you have to solve. Okay, the following describes how the students and teachers of a school are involved in tree planting event organized by the school. A total of 16,500 is collected, with each student contributing 150 and teacher contributing 500. Okay, student. A student is giving an amount of, how much is that? 150. And teachers, they are giving an amount of 500 rupees. Okay, total they get is 16,500 rupees. Okay. Okay. Now, with this, they have said that then 330 saplings are brought with this money, and all of them are distributed to be planted by giving each student 5 saplings and each teacher 2 saplings. Altogether, there are 330 saplings. This is distributed by giving a student, how many saplings? A student is distributed with 5 saplings and a teacher with 2 saplings. Okay. Now the Roman number 1, you have to form an equation. How do you form? By constructing a pair of simultaneous equations and solving them, find the number of students and the number of teachers. Now I'll say students as X and teachers as Y. Now you know, from one student they are collecting 150, and how many students are there? X students. Okay, let us say that way. And 500 is collected from a teacher, and altogether there are Y teachers. Okay. Therefore you can say 150 multiplied by X, that is a total amount you get from the students, and 500 Y, that is the total amount you get from teachers. The total should be equal to 16,500. This is the first equation. Also 330 saplings, that means the total of saplings is equal to 330. How do you get this 330? Students, they are given 5 saplings. Students, how do you represent? How many students? You don't know. That we used as X, the unknown term. Teachers, you used as Y. Therefore 5x plus 2y will give you 330. This is the second equation. Now since these coefficients are not equal, let us make them equal. Therefore I am going to multiply the second equation by 30. So the answer you will be getting is 150x plus 60y is equal to 9900. Let us call this equation as third one. Now you have 1 and 3. The coefficients are equal. Therefore let us subtract first, and by considering first and third equation, let us subtract 3 from 1. You have to subtract this from this. Therefore if you subtract 150 from 150, it will be 0. 500 minus 60 will give you 440y, and then 9900 minus 16500 is equal to 6600. Therefore if you solve this, y is equal to 15. Now in order to find the number of the value of x, you have to substitute the value of y in any of the equation you like. Since this equation is small, second equation, let us take the second equation. Therefore y equals, you have to write this sentence substituting y equals 15 in second equation. Therefore the second equation, you had 5x plus 2y. 2y means you get 30 is equal to 330. Therefore 5x equals 300, x is equal to 60. Therefore students, number of students is 60, and number of teachers, how much was it? 15. Okay, and the second part, instead of the above method of distributing the saplings, each student is given p saplings. Student, how did we represent student? X, that is for students. He is given each student is given p saplings. And also teachers are given q saplings, and each teacher q saplings. Then some saplings will remain undistributed. Now there is a remainder out of this total. How much were the saplings? Out of these 330 saplings, while we distribute p, each student is given p saplings. So altogether, how to find the total? P multiplied by x, and also q multiplied by y will give you the number of saplings given to the teachers. Altogether it should be equal to somewhat lesser than 330. Why? Because there is a remainder. They are saying you get a remainder. Now you have to write an inequality in terms of p and q using this information. Now let us find the total number of saplings given to all the students. How do we find? You have to just multiply p and x. Number of students is x, number of saplings given per one student is p, therefore you multiply. Also now you have to get the total, therefore you have to multiply q. Q is the number of saplings given to a teacher, and there are how many teachers? Altogether there are y teachers. This total should be less than 330. This is the inequality. Why do you say that it is less than 330? Why can't it be equal? Because they have said that there is a remainder. If there is a remainder, when you take all the saplings, it cannot be equal to 330. It should be somewhat maybe 1, 2 or any amount, maybe less than 330. Okay. Let us check the next question, the sixth one. It's the quadratic equation. Okay. A question. Let me draw the diagram. A rectangle is given. This total length they have given as 2 meters, I guess. Yeah, meters. Yeah, the part. Okay. Also this part, they have said something. This is P, this is Q. Okay, also this side the length is also equal to 4 meters. Length is equal to 4 meters. This is equal to 4. This should look like a square. Okay, let me extend this. This should look like a square. Okay. They are saying you that it's a metal sheet of length 4 meters and breadth 2 meters along two straight dashed lines are shown. The part P is cut off. This part is cut off, taken off. Okay. Now what you have to do is let the side length of part P be x meters. Okay. Now they have said this is x, this is x. Now this is a square. Therefore length and breadth both are equal. Now what should you do the first part? Okay, find an expression in terms of x for the area of the rectangular part labeled Q in the figure. Is that the first part? Yes. Yes, you have to find an expression for the Q. How do you find out? Okay, this is the way. Now, in order to find the area, you should know the length and breadth. Now, since this total length is equal to 2 meters, out of that this is equal to x. Then what is the balance? 2 minus x. That is the breadth. Also the length total is equal to 4. This part is equal to x. Therefore the balance is 4 minus x. Therefore, in order to find the area, you have to multiply both these. Got it? Okay. And then the second part. They have given you an important thing, that is the area of P is twice the area of Q. P is equal to twice the area of Q. Okay, I think you have to use that equation. Okay. Show that x squared minus 12x plus 16 is equal to 0. Okay, now since they have given you an information saying that the area of P is equal to twice the area of Q, let us write that equation. Using equal mark, you can use it. Now the area of P is equal to x squared. This area is equal to twice the area of Q. Okay, that means you have to take twice into the area of Q. So you have to multiply 4 minus x minus 2 minus x. Now if you multiply this, I hope you will be getting that answer. You should. Okay, let us get the answer. Now if you multiply what is inside the bracket, you will be getting 8 minus 6x minus x squared. Okay, so this further 8 times 2 16 minus 12x minus 2x squared. So if you take this x to the other side, you will be getting minus x squared. Therefore answer should have plus x squared. Now we'll take this x to the it should be x squared. Here you have plus. Okay, this should be plus. Therefore I'll take this x squared to the other side. So x squared, when you subtract x squared from 2x squared, you have x squared. Also minus 12x plus 16 anyway is equal to 0. Got the value? Yes, you have got the answer. Okay, now the third part. Using the formula or by some other method, show that x is equal to 6 plus or minus 2 root 5. Now you have to get this answer. Now let us use the formula method. Okay, now the formula, you should know the formula, that is x is equal to minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now in this equation, you should know the values of a, b, c. A is the coefficient of x squared, that is equal to a. I'll write it here. A is equal to 1, b is equal to minus 12, and also c is equal to plus 16. Now let me substitute. This is already minus, therefore this is also minus. Minus into minus will give you plus, therefore plus 12 plus or minus b squared minus 12 into minus 12, that will give you 144 plus 144 minus 4 into AC. A is 1, C is 16. Therefore 16 into 4 will give you 64. 2 into 1 is 2. Now X is equal to 144 minus 64. That will give you 80 over 2. Now you can simplify the root sign further. When you have 80 you can write it as 16 multiplied by 5. So you know the square root of 16. That will give you 4 outside. You can take 4 outside. Then you have 12 plus or minus 4 root 5 divided by whole thing divided by 2. Therefore when you solve this you will be getting this answer. Yes, 12 divided by 2 is equal to 6 plus or minus 4 divided by 2 is 2 root 5. Okay, that part is clear, I hope. Okay, now the fourth part. Show that the value 6 plus, now you have two values for x now. One is the plus 6 plus 2 root 5 or 6 minus 2 root 5. You have to show that it is not suitable for x. It can't suit x, the plus part. How do you show? Now observe very carefully. You have to show this part doesn't suit the value of x. How do you show that? Now consider this, the length, the metal sheet given. Now the length and breadth, the maximum it can take is 4 and the breadth maximum it can take is 2. Therefore by considering this, when you add something to this 6, it is going to give you a value greater than 6. Okay, then you cannot, the x value will be greater than 6. So simply you cannot subtract anything greater than 6 here. No? Even you take the breadth side, anyway you can't cut a 6 meter long metal sheet from the breadth side. And also if you take the length, you cannot cut 6 meters. The maximum you can cut here is 4. So therefore you can say this value is greater than 4. Okay. Yes, or how are they saying? Yeah, 4, and even it is greater than 2 as well. You can show whatever you like. Okay. Okay, and the last part, by taking root 5 as 2.24. Root 5 you have to take as 2.24. You have to solve and get the value of x. So it's simple. So the only possible answer is 6 minus 2 root 5. So root 5 is already given. 6 minus 2 into 2.24. That is equal to 6 minus 4.48. So simply x will be equal to 1.52 meters. Okay. Now the next part will be the B part.